Hi, this is Savannah,
And this is Brian from the Dorky Diva Show,
and you're listening to Star Wars.
the best place for below average Star Wars.
In a world where people need 80s and 90s movie reviews, two regular Geordies combine forces to bring you the Brother to Brother 80s and 90s movie review podcast. Check them out on Twitter, YouTube, and all decent podcast vendors.
Star Wars, best place for below average Star Wars.
Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. I am the Geordie Jedi Pete.
And I'm Jason Hondo Ling.
And I'm Kat Risialka.
We are back to talk all things Star Wars. The biggest thing that's happened recently is, of course, the release of the Book of Boba Fett trailer. One of the things I love is, at the moment, we sort of get to October, November, and then we get sort of trailers for the upcoming sort of December releases come to Disney Plus. So I feel that sometimes you go through quiet periods, but whenever you get towards the end of the year, you start getting like trailers to review, more news drops, more merch drops ready for Christmas. So it really picks up for us here. But yeah, so first topic's going to be the Book of Boba Fett trailer. We'll start off with you, Kat. How did you feel when this trailer dropped? And sort of what were your first initial feelings about the trailer itself?
It was actually quite funny because the trailer dropped as a complete surprise, and I was in college. So I was in a seminar, my phone was on mute, I didn't know what was happening, and I come out and I obviously flick open my phone, and I see this dozens of messages, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I go online and I see this trailer, it's dropped, so obviously I go and watch that straight away, and oh my goodness, hats off to the editors of that trailer, because it is incredible. What I loved is how suspenseful it is without giving away any of the major plot details. All you can really tell is that Boba Fett's being big, bad, and awesome, and he's trying to bring like the crime syndicates together. That's all you can tell, and it was just so dynamic, and the music accompanying it, that sort of metallic music that gets more and more suspenseful and dramatic. It was one of my favourite, I think, Star Wars trailers.
Yeah, I think one of the things I loved about it was that it didn't tell us much about the story. It didn't show us much about what's going to be happening, but it did give us a great feel of what's going on, and it also gave us a point that this is going to be a different Boba Fett. I think the opening line is Boba Fett saying he's not a bounty hunter, and like someone saying that's not what I've heard, and it's a case of like, Boba Fett was a bounty hunter, but since he came out of Sarlacc, has he been a bounty hunter? I don't think he has. And as we saw in The Mandalorian, he was very much a man of his word. Like he promised he would save the child in return for his armor, and then he held up that end of the bargain. Instead of sort of trying to cash in the child himself or cash in on the Mandalorian himself, which was really cool. Jason, what was where were you, and how were you feeling when the trailer dropped? And then also, what were your first thoughts on the trailer?
Well, I did similar to Kat, just looked on and saw loads and loads of comments coming through about this trailer. So I quickly jumped on, and I did. We were quite good. We got the Jedi News WhatsApp group, and we were quite refrained. I think Mark was the first one to ask, has anyone seen it? But it was Kat's reaction that did make me laugh, because we were all there so excited, and she was like, I really don't know what's going on. So yeah, that's something that made it quite amusing for me. I loved every little bit of it. Boba Boba Fett is a fan favourite character, I think, for everyone. And the way they brought him into the Mandalorian, I'm just looking forward to see what they do with this. Obviously, like there was the scenes where they were sat round the table in Jabba's palace. Almost like a mob meeting with him at the head of the table. And also, obviously, there was some familiar alien species. So you had like the Gamorrean guards, and then there was a few Twi'leks in there, and that was something that was exciting for me because there was a very famous actress revealed to be in the new Boba Fett series, Jennifer Beals. And I'm really looking forward because I can't imagine that they've got an actress like her without her character playing quite an important role. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that is.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if, I think Boba Fett has a line in the trailer where he says, he wants to rule by respect, not by fear. So I wonder if that's going to mean an olive branch out to the Twi'leks. You're not going to be slaves. We're not going to use you for entertainment. You're not going to be dancers. We're going to respect you. The same with sort of everyone else. So if you are bringing sort of high-profile actors in to be a Twi'lek, is it going to be sort of the Twi'leks being like, well, no, like we've seen what it's like in the past. Like we're used as sort of, for lack of a better term, sort of the sex trade in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quite that, but it's sort of adult entertainment within Star Wars and slavery and trafficking, really. So it's quite gritty and horrible stuff. But of course, this is the underworld; it is horrible. So yeah, I think bringing a high-profile actress for that type of role, I think we are going to see some things get dealt with to do with that, which I think would be really cool. I think that you said, Jason, was about the meeting in Jabba's palace, where it was like sort of Boba, and we had the Gamorrean guards. I think there was some Trandoshans there as well.
Yeah.
They were sort of questioning sort of what the future holds. Now Jabba's got it, now Boba's got control. And to me, that scene reminded me of Batman 1989 when the Joker has just taken over the crime syndicate. He's killed Grisham and sort of meets with the mob bosses. Then one of them wants to says, "I'm going to leave," and he's like, "Oh, no hard feelings." But then he ends up like burning him to death with that shocker in his hand. Obviously, Boba's not going to do that because he wants to rule with respect. But the scene, the tone, it reminded me of that scene from Batman 1989. I think Jabba being gone is going to be a big part of the story. I think the start of the trailer is establishing shots of Jabba's palace. And we see quite a few shots of Jabba's palace itself in the trailer. That power vacuum of when he's gone. Obviously, Bib Fortuna had it for a little bit. Was he a good leader? Was he not? I think we'll find that out when people are talking about it. And obviously now Boba's in control. He's obviously got grand designs on what he wants to do going forward. So yeah, a lot of that. What were sort of some of your favourite scenes in the trailer, Kat?
Oh my gosh, I think every scene where Fennec and Boba Fett share a look, I just love their chemistry. You can see that Fennec is in on Boba Fett's plans. She clearly knows what he's doing. And the eye rolls, are they serious kind of looks? And I just loved sort of the chemistry between those two characters. And it'll be interesting to see if they've had a bounty hunting history, because we know from the Bad Batch that Fennec Shand has a long line of bounty hunting experience. So she must have come across Boba Fett in the past. And I think that sort of is giving the two of them this camaraderie, especially considering that Fett saved her in The Mandalorian. And I just really, really enjoyed that partnership that you could see in the trailer.
Yeah, I think for me, definitely, obviously, the timeline of the Bad Batch has set up Fennec Shand to have been an active bounty hunter during the same years as Boba Fett. So have they met before? Have they gotten each other's way? Have they worked together on bounties before? We're going to find that out, I think. And also, I think a big thing for me is, having watched the Bad Batch, we know that Fennec has encountered clones before. So I wonder, obviously, Boba is a clone. So I wonder in voice and in looks. So I wonder whether we're going to get a bit about sort of Boba trying to, sort of prove his identity. Like, look, I'm not a clone. Like, I am me. I have my own identity. I'm Boba Fett. I am me. I'm one of a kind. I'm a real person. Yes, you may have seen these clones before, but I'm not one of them. And are we going to see a bit of sort of Boba dealing with that identity crisis that other people might sort of put him under? We saw in Mandalorian season 2 the insults that Bo-Katan was sort of putting towards him about being a clone. The digs about a donor, the digs about a voice and face that's just seen 1,000 times before. And other people have seen these things 1,000 and heard it 1,000 times before. So are we going to see people doing that? And Boba's probably going to have to keep his cool now if he wants to rule by respect and not with fear. If people are saying them type of things to him, he's going to have to keep his cool. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Fennec helps him through that. And yeah, obviously, trailer, I think you bang on, Kat. Fennec seems right by Boba Fett's side. Fett did save her in The Mandalorian. But there's one thing about these bounty hunters in this world is that, can they turn? And I wonder if she'll be tempted by some other reason to turn on him, maybe. They might tease it throughout, who knows. I hope not, because I really do think they're like a great power couple together, to sort of really stamp their authority on Tatooine and then maybe the rest of the underworld as well.
That's a really
any
interesting
closing
point
thoughts on the trailer, Jason?
Yeah, what were you going to say, Kat?
I was going to say, Boba Fett has actually tried bringing people together before. Do you remember? Was it the Clone Wars? Was it season 5? He brings a group of bounty hunters together. This was when he was really young, and he tries to bring this group of bounty hunters together, including Asajj Ventress.
Yeah.
And that didn't work. So it'd be interesting to see if he takes the lessons from that and now applies it to this sort of consolidating of power within the crime syndicates.
Yeah, I think he seems like a very calculated man, and I think he knows he survived. I think he knows he should be dead.
Yeah, I definitely get that. This is sort of Boba Fett's rebirth, which I think is why he's going for. He's grateful that he's got this second chance, and he's going to make the most of it. Which is why he wanted to sort of claim Jabba's palace, I think. And like he's saying, it does make me wonder if he's going to go down a route similar to like Maul did, which we obviously haven't seen of. Like he established Crimson Dawn. Is Boba Fett going to be trying to build that sort of thing, or is he going to go for something slightly different? We know that the First Order are building in the background. Is this going to come into play at all? Obviously, the Resistance is forming against the First Order as well. There's so much stuff going on in the background, but I think Boba Fett's going to be trying to organise Tatooine itself, which is really exciting sort of stuff. It'll be interesting to see, because there's been loads of rumours about all the different bounty hunters that we've seen. So like Bosk, Dengar, are any of those going to make appearances in this series? I've got a feeling they might do, but time will tell.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see these bounty hunters who have worked with and worked against Boba Fett, sort of Boba Fett's peers, and now Boba Fett's going to be sort of saying, I'm the boss, and how do they react to that? They'll be like, no, Boba, you're one of us, you always have been, like, you're not the boss. And do they get in line, or do they sort of resist it? Could be a lot of different sort of power players in this show. I think it's going to be very almost like a Sopranos set in space, set in Star Wars, maybe.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That's definitely. I think it's going to be a different feel than what we're used to.
Definitely. And sort of out of the trailer, are you hoping we get a Jabba's Hutt playset for action figures?
I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of stuff coming from this show, and lots of fun stuff. I'll certainly be looking to see what Lego comes out of it.
Definitely. But no, I think I've got no other thoughts on the trailer other than that. I love the fact, as we've said, it teased us a lot, didn't really show us much, and it had a really sort of definitive tone that it's going to give us. And obviously, it's not long now till December 29th, so I'm very, very excited. Do you think we'll get another clip at Disney Plus Day next week on the 12th of November?
I'm not sure. That was something that I was a little bit wondering. Sort of wondering why they released this a week before Disney Plus, because obviously, or maybe they wanted to release it so it didn't get lost in all the other stuff that's due to come out on that day. There's rumours that we're going to get stuff for Obi Wan, stuff for Andor. Obviously, there's the Boba Fett documentary that's going to be released on that day. So I think that's probably what they've done. They've released this slightly early so that the fans could digest it before they see that special. Maybe we'll see a few behind-the-scenes clips in that.
Hopefully. Kat, what's your hopes for Boba Fett and Disney Plus Day?
I'm trying to remember. I think The Mandalorian did have 2 trailers. So I'm thinking that we may get another trailer with very similar scenes in it, but perhaps cut differently. Or we may get perhaps a clip, something very short. But I think they're going to be keeping this under wraps as much as possible. Very much like The Mandalorian. Star Wars fans, we're curious, we love to know things, but keeping it under wraps does make much more of an impact when it finally airs. So I think they're going to probably limit how much material is going to be available in trailers, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
No, definitely. I think I don't mind them showing us stuff, but I don't want to know the storyline going in. Otherwise, sort of the surprise is not there when you do go along for the journey, go along for the ride. Yes, that pretty much sums up Book of Boba Fett trailer. Obviously, something else that happened sort of in the past couple of weeks since we last recorded. There was obviously rumours flying around that Hayden Christensen was going to reprise his role as Anakin / Darth Vader, not just for the Kenobi series, which we know he is doing, but also for the Ahsoka series. And then Rosario Dawson posted on social media, essentially saying Sky Guy, they know. And then obviously deleted it later on. Obviously, we know that Rosario Dawson sort of leaked the fact that she was Ahsoka, and that Ahsoka was going to be in The Mandalorian the first time around, so it doesn't surprise me it's happening again. For me, I do believe it. I believe that he is going to be in Ahsoka. I don't think she would lie like that and then delete it. I think she knew exactly what she was doing. So first of all, we'll go to you, Kat, first. Sort of, what's your thoughts on sort of how this was handled by Rosario Dawson? And then also, how do you feel about getting Anakin, Darth Vader in the Ahsoka series?
I think a lot of it comes down to the excitement of the actors. I think a lot of people, when they work on Star Wars, they're so excited about it, and they want to share that excitement, which I think then ends up in these little posts and teasers that ultimately get taken down. But the fans get this kind of information. I think it's fun. I don't mind being spoiled a little, because casting announcements are almost always made prior to release of shows, so I don't mind. I mean, if Ahsoka and Anakin have a moment where he's a Force ghost and she's talking to him, I mean, I think I will literally break down sobbing, because their relationship that you see grow throughout the Clone Wars, and then you see it torn apart in Rebels. Oh my gosh, their arc together, their journey together, and then apart is just one of my favorite parts of Star Wars. Ahsoka is one of my personal favorite characters, and seeing her again with Anakin will be very special. And what would he say to her? I'm sorry for betraying you. Would she apologize for leaving the order and not helping him? There's just so much history there between them. It would be mind blowing.
You've got to remember the last time they met that we've seen, Anakin told her, "You will die."
Yeah, that was, talk about a way to rip out poor Ahsoka's heart. And it would be wonderful if the two of them could have this healing, just like a mutual sort of forgiveness of each other's, turning their back on each other, and have that sort of healing moment where they can move on.
Jason, what were your thoughts on the rumors and how Rosario reacted to them, and obviously what's your expectations for Anakin being in the Ahsoka series?
I think it's going to be very different to what Kat sort of expected. I personally think it's going to be flashbacks, and it's going to be reflections of Ahsoka's relationship with Anakin. And I have a feeling that's what it's going to be with the Obi Wan series as well. I think it's going to be more about those characters reflecting on their relationship with Anakin rather than a new relationship, because especially with the Obi-Wan series, if you bring Anakin or Darth Vader into that series where Obi-Wan's connected, been hiding Luke for so long, it sort of muddies the waters, which I know they're not afraid to do at times. But I'm wondering if, because they've had such backlash in the past, are they going to be mindful of that? So I personally think Hayden Christensen's role in all of these series is going to be flashbacks more than anything. But it'll be interesting to see. Either way, we're still seeing new relationships for these characters. And as Kat rightly said, the relationship Anakin and Ahsoka had was a very beautiful sort of relationship that then got shattered by the events that happened. Let's face it, Anakin all the way through those Clone Wars episodes was the one person that was always believed in Ahsoka. So that bond, I think, would be hard to break.
Definitely. I think we might get a mix. I think we might get a mix of flashbacks, and then I think at the end we might see Force Anakin come and sort of have that closure moment with Ahsoka, which I think will be absolutely beautiful. I think Kat's spot on, when, that's Rebels Season 2 finale, when sort of Ahsoka faces Vader and the mask gets cut and the Matt Lanter voice comes back into it, and then you will die. Not only did it break Ahsoka's heart, but it broke all of our hearts watching it. It purely is tragedy. As my favourite Star Wars podcast, Sky Talkers, like to say, Star Wars is tragedy. And in that moment, it was its most tragic. So to get that little bit of closure, and I think it would really pull on the heartstrings in an opposite way of sort of making us all, yes, we'd cry, but I think we'd be also happy tears when we see Anakin and Ahsoka have that moment towards the end of the season, hopefully. But like I said, I want it all. I'm being quite greedy. I want flashbacks of Anakin in the Clone Wars, and then I also want Jedi Ghost Anakin speaking to Ahsoka.
Either way, it's going to be pretty amazing.
Definitely, yeah. I think it makes sense. If you're bringing Hayden back and he's going to be in Kenobi, and like I said, we don't know what he's done for Kenobi. I don't know if you guys have heard about what he's doing. Is he a ghost? Is he being Darth Vader? Is he doing both? Is he being flashbacks? Is he doing all three? We don't know. I don't know if you guys have heard anything different on that.
No, it's one of those things. I think they're going to keep it really secret. The fact that it was always going to come out that he was involved somehow. But it just feeds the intrigue in okay, how's this going to build into the story? And I think that's part of the reason. It wouldn't surprise me if someone at Lucasfilm was behind the Rosario Dawson leak. It's just, I know she accidentally leaked that she was going to be in Star Wars in the first place. So I think to do it a second time, it's always like someone said, well, it's sort of expected of you. You can make the link, But yeah, it's just one of those things that seeing what this character becomes is part of the fun of Star Wars.
Yeah, definitely. I just think, Hayden hasn't been working much in the past decade. They brought him back for Kenobi, sorry. Obviously, as I said, we don't know what he's been doing for that, but if the company are happy with him and he's doing a great job, then it totally makes sense to use him again for Ahsoka because of the blatant connection between the characters. It just makes story sense for me.
Yeah.
Kat, if I give
It
you a
does sort
choice,
of raise the question, though, of why they didn't bring him in even quickly for the sequels, because you could almost imagine, Anakin should have turned up at one point to tell his grandchildren and some of those Force users who could have really used a helping hand.
I think that was, I think because of the chop and changing of the sequel trilogy, especially that third movie where it was a different movie than it, it was Duel of the Fates, then it became a totally different story altogether. I think they probably didn't have time to even think about themselves. Obviously, they did bring him in to record a voice, speaking to Rey at the end. I know that the reason why, I think in The Last Jedi, when we see Force Ghost Yoda, the reason why Rian Johnson chose Yoda was because obviously Alec Guinness was gone. And obviously Yoda's who Luke sort of had the big connection with in the middle movie in the original trilogy. So he just said it made sense more for that. But yeah, you're 100% right. If these Force ghosts are around, why wouldn't they be involved? But I think, looks like we're going to get our fill now. We've had to wait a bit longer than what we expected. But here we are. Here's what I'm going to say, Kat. I'm going to give you two choices, okay?
Okay.
Choice one is that we get Force Ghost Anakin having a reconciliation with Ahsoka in a beautiful scene in the Ahsoka series, or we have the resurrection of Ben Solo in a future Star Wars movie. You pick. Only pick one.
Option 2. I'm sorry, Ahsoka. Option 2.
Oh dear.
No, it's a hard choice. It is a hard choice. I just like putting the pressure on people. Well, hard choice for us. It obviously wasn't a hard choice, okay. But no. Moving on from that, I did see. We haven't spoken about this off air, but I did see Bill Burr speaking about the possibility of returning as Migs Mayfield in Mandalorian Season 3, and he just said that he would love to reprise the role. I think that's a really cool thing. I think obviously, I hated his character when he first debuted, but I think that was the whole point. And obviously we got that character depth and development in his backstory in Season 2. And then obviously, they set him free to sort of do his own business now. So I would love to see him come back in and help out where he's needed in the Season 3 of The Mandalorian. I think Bill did a great job of portraying a sort of a-hole character, and then also did a great job of making us really feel for him in that Season 2 when they put a bit more meat on his bones and they developed the character a bit. You guys up for seeing more Bill Burr in Mandalorian?
Yeah, I have to admit, because I saw the statement where he sort of said, I can neither confirm or deny. He said that they'd kill him if he announced whether he was in it or not. He's a character that I think especially now with obviously Gina Carano sort of out of the fold for a bit. He's a character that I can see them revisiting, and like you say, he's now got this thing that obviously the Mando and everyone sort of really helped him to escape, and gave him a second chance. So it sort of seems likely that he's going to come back to help Mando at some point. Now that he's had his almost like redemption.
I'm totally up for that, because I think what his character really showed was there were good people working for the Empire. The Empire wasn't just all these bad Grand Moffs and admirals. There were just general, normal people working for the Empire, trying to make a living in the galaxy, and they got caught up in everything. And it wasn't their fault. They might just be administrators and HR and whatever the Empire had. And you can't just blame and label those people for doing their everyday jobs. And it would be really interesting to see that kind of character explored more, because yeah, you're right. That's that until that moment in season 2 where he's talking to that Imperial officer. He really was quite hard to like. He was a jerk, to put it mildly. And then you hear this story and you're like, oh my goodness, he went through a lot, and he's still carrying that trauma, to commit that kind of revenge. And that would be really, really interesting to see in a Star Wars story, in a Star Wars way.
Definitely. Moving on from TV shows and Disney Plus, my favorite thing at the moment is, of course, the Hasbro Pulse Haslab RANCOR. So they've released the Black Series RANCOR. So this is the RANCOR in scale to the 6-inch figure line. So they've finally announced it. It's finally gone up. It ends in 30 days. It needs to hit 9,000 backers to get made. It's currently at 5,550, so it's more than halfway there. Did you guys see this go live, and have you been tempted to bite the bullet on it?
I saw it go live, and I was like, yeah, I can't afford that. And I haven't got room for it, and so I've resisted. But it's great to see this sort of project taking off again. I'm almost 100% certain that it's going to get backed, and because I think they've released. Have they shown one of the first options to go live with it as well? Did I see?
Yes, you have. So I'll talk through that. So obviously they announced the RANCOR. They announced that it needs 9,000 backers. It's £329.99. It's a limit of 5 per customer. And then they announced, when it first got released, they announced that it had 4 unlocks. So there was an unlock for 11,000, an unlock for 13,500, and then tier 3 and tier 4 have not been announced yet, as opposed to numbers. And then just yesterday, during a Haslab live stream, they announced that the tier 1, which is 11,000 backers, so essentially it hits 9,000 backers, which is 9,000 people paying the price, unlocks the actual product to get made, and then if it hits 11,000, then they will add this product into it for free. And it is a Gamorrean guard that is on the original Power of the Force card with the coin from Return of the Jedi. So this got a bit of the figure looks, the card looks fantastic, the coin looks fantastic, the Gamorrean guard looks fantastic. It is obviously a repack of the Gamorrean guard. I think we've had 2 in the Black Series line so far. So there was quite a few people on social media sort of saying, this isn't the one to announce to sort of get people to back it. Some people upset. For me, I think the figure looks really cool. for me, I think it's already halfway there with 30 days left, so I think it's definitely going to get backed. Could they have went with something a bit more exciting figure line wise? I think yes. People are crying out for is it Malachi the RANCOR keeper, and Ula the dancer, with two that don't have figures at all in the 6 inch line. But who's to say they aren't coming? Like I said, there's 3 more tiers to be announced. So we will see. So I wasn't too bothered. Like I wasn't upset. I said I think the Gamorrean guard looks really cool. The packaging looks cool. The coin looks really cool. So I'm quite happy. I've already backed it. Hopefully we'll get Malachi and Ula in some of the later tiers. But yeah, so that's where we stand with that at the minute. So I've backed it. I'm tempted to back it again. Just because I don't know. I just feel like once this ends, you won't be able to buy it. So I don't know. Maybe one to open and one to keep in box, especially when you look at that, the quality of the card and the design on this Gamorrean guard that comes with it. Like I would love to open one, but if I only had one, I'd probably want to keep it mint on card. So if I get 2, then keep one mint on card and open one. Which the wife probably will disagree with, so I need to have a long hard think about that. But I'm quite happy with it so far. Like I said, they could have picked a better thing for the tier 1 unlock, but it's not too bad. And I think as it goes on, I trust them for tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 to be awesome. So yeah, I'm all on board with it. It's the first time I've backed something on Hasbro Pulse. The Haslabs. I wish I'd done the barge, and I wish I'd done the Razor Crest, and obviously I had real FOMO afterwards, after I missed out on them. So this is why this time I've just backed it, and then that way I know I can't miss out.
Were you tempted at all, Kat?
No, like I said, I think previously, I can't believe that Haslab keep doing these big, massive, expensive projects of ships and aliens that get either blown up or die or very little screen time, or all of them. So no, I'm not going to be spending that amount of money on something that, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't get enough screen time.
Yeah. No, I can completely relate to that. I do, like you were saying though, Pete, I think they'd be foolish if they don't release a Malachi figure to go with the Rancor. And I can see why people be, if they want to get the numbers up for people signing up to it, that would have been the one to release first so that people were enticed by it. But maybe they're hoping announce it later on and they'll get a mad rush of people going for it.
But here's the thing, I mean, you could announce, it could be 5 days left to go, and they could announce a 5th tier, or say if they haven't released via tier 4 yet, release something really awesome, and then everyone would just flock and buy it. So for me, it's halfway there with 30 days left. I think it's definitely going to get back to the 9,000. I think if you're worried about it hitting the later numbers, then that's when you save the big guns till later on.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because I've backed it, which means that I don't miss out. Means if people decide to back it later to unlock more stuff, then I still get that stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's well on the way. Because people say oh, it won't get back down. Well, it's halfway there with 30 days left. Yes, people are waiting to see what the other unlocks are, but once they see them, they'll back it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if it was only a couple of hundred have backed it so far, then yes, you got big problems. But I think you're halfway there. But I mean, I said if they had led with something better than the Gamorrean Guard, like I said, if you look at Hasbro Pulse, Haslab have also just dropped the Egon Spengler Proton Pack. That's hit its back within 3 days. Obviously, Ghostbusters is going wild with the new movie coming out in a couple of weeks. But it goes to show that if you release the right stuff with it, you can get it back straight away. This one, obviously, it's well on the way, but it's not quite backed yet. But they're going to have to release some more stuff down the line to really sort of get excited about it, to get those final 3,500 backers. To get it made, and then also the extra backers, another 3,000 to get the extras all added on. as I said, I guarantee once they announce Ula and Malachi, like it'll hit 15,000 no problem. Like once people know that. And I think the good thing
Hasbro
is
know
that
how to market something at the end of the day.
yeah, so Hasbro know they can drop that whenever. Like they could drop that with 10 days to go. If they're like, oh, we need a push here. Okay,
And that will create the massive FOMO and get people buying it. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So I think, yeah, I'm excited. You know, I think I spoke about it before how excited I am about the RANCOR. Yeah, I'm very, very excited. Speaking of RANCOR, Jason, I know has been sort of more. Is it what Bring the Bounty Home? Announcements?
Yeah. Oh, you caught me off guard there. I'm going to have to quickly look it up. I think you and I were discussing off air that a lot of the stuff that they've been announcing on the Bring Home the Bounty this time seems to be stuff that we're already aware of. So I'm just trying to find what the latest ones are. But there's so much stuff. You know, Christmas is getting closer and closer, and so many different things are coming out. I think next week with the Disney Plus day, we could well see more stuff coming relating to the Book of Boba Fett and stuff like that. But time will tell. I'm just looking at week 3. I don't think we looked at that one. Nothing overly exciting. A lot of figures there. There is the Dr. Squatch Star Wars soap collection. Always something fun if you want a bar of soap with Yoda on it.
There we go. There's stocking fillers sorted.
Yeah, absolutely. Might actually get the kids to have a bath. Where are we to? Week 4. Anything exciting on this one? Ooh, we got the Book of Boba Fett Bitty Boomer's Bluetooth speaker. That looks quite cool, actually. So it's basically a Boba Fett shaped Bluetooth speaker. We got some is that her universe? No, it's the Heroes and Villain Ahsoka hoodie. That looks quite cool. As they've done the Black Series characters from the Clone Wars, which have already sort of been announced. So you've got Mace Windu, General Grievous there. I have to admit, they do look pretty cool, those figures. And there's a certain Lego kit that we were talking about earlier, Pete, the Duel on Mandalore. So you've got Ahsoka Tano and Darth Maul there. That's quite a cool looking kit. Actually, that week 4's got also got the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle, which is the Lego Star Wars kit, which I can thoroughly recommend. Love building that one. And then the Mandalorian Starfighter, which is on my list to hopefully acquire. But yeah, there's not a huge... It sort of fizzled out. It'll be interesting to see what comes over the next few weeks as we get closer and closer to Christmas. And then obviously, because it carries on after Christmas, heading towards January. So, yeah.
Well, if you remember with The Mandalorian, most of the matching merchandise came after the show because a lot of it was really spoilery. So they might be doing the same with the Book of Boba Fett.
I had this thought just the other day that I'm surprised we haven't had it yet, but we haven't had a Dark Trooper released in the Black Series line. That would be a fantastic figure. I think the Dark Troopers from Mandalorian season finale, I think would be a fantastic Black Series figure.
They would be cool.
I would have thought that's got to be on its way at some point.
But I mean, they haven't even given us like Rey with the yellow lightsaber yet, or good guy Ben Solo.
They haven't given us Ben either.
Yep. So
I'm not answering that one.
I just think there's a lot of figures there that like they haven't done, and then like repacking like battle droids and Jar Jar Binkses and stuff. And it's like, like give us some new figures. They announced Cobb Vanth. We're getting Cobb Vanth as a deluxe figure. But yeah, like I think things like the Dark Trooper are like so chaotic that they make a fantastic figure. Plus, I mean, kids would buy loads of them to build the army. There'll be army builders. So there's money's on the table just to take. With stuff like that. I think you could do Ben and Rey as a double pack, where you get Rey as a Jedi Knight with the yellow lightsaber, and then Ben with the black jumper and the blue saber. You could do that as a double pack.
I would buy 4 of them.
I was going to say, Kat would probably buy up the entire Hasbro stock.
So there's still room there for new figures that they haven't announced.
I think there's a lot that they could do to
moving
sort
on
of
from
have some
that.
fresh
Obviously,
material
next
then.
weekend. Say that again, sorry, Kat.
There's definitely a lot of fresh material that they could inject into the line. It does feel a bit. It's got a bit of the re-release bug, a bit like sometimes the Lego Star Wars, and there are so many Star Wars characters that it can be a bit annoying when they just repackage and re-release the same ones.
Definitely.
So 100% you hit on the head there, Kat. Someone who collects the Black Series and has invested quite a bit of money into it, I definitely feel like that. And yes, we do get some really cool figures, but as I've just announced some off the top of my head there, figures that we don't have yet. And you're right, we are getting a lot of repacks. And when you look at what Hasbro, the same company, are doing with their Marvel Legends line, where they are giving us like every different type of figure you could want as a collector and as a kid wanting to play with them. They're doing it right in that line, so they just need to do the same in this line, but they don't seem to be doing that for whatever reason. So yeah, sort of that's where we're at with it. Moving on from that, obviously next weekend, which is, I think the Saturday is the 13th, Sunday's the 14th. MCM Birmingham Comic Con. Does that start on the Friday, Jason?
No, this one, Birmingham starts on the Saturday. I know the London one was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but this one's only a 2-dayer.
So it starts on the 13th and runs to the 14th.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jedi News are going to be there in force.
Oh, yes.
What are you looking forward to most about going to MCM Comic Con?
Getting back together with the gang. It's going to be... It's been a long time. I think it'll be the first time we all actually get together at the same time, isn't it, Kat?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen each other physically since I think 2019.
Yeah. Because the last time I saw you would have been the first time I saw you up at the Rise of Skywalker.
The first time and the last time.
And what a way to meet. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting back together with the Jedi News gang. I'm looking forward to seeing all the excellent Star Wars cosplayers. And I'm certain that there's going to be a certain couple of stormtroopers and Jawas that are going to cause absolute chaos. I'm also looking forward to catching up with the guys from the Silver Sabres, because I know they're going to be doing their demonstrations and everything there. So we're going to have to get Kat in the arena with them having a go on the lightsaber. We'll try and catch that on film.
Oh my gosh, I'm not taking my lightsaber this year.
No. They've got one you can borrow. Don't worry.
Buy. I'm not taking any spending money either. No.
No, I said borrow, not buy. In fact, if I can, I'm almost tempted to take my lightsaber with me. So, but I'd like to have a proper go with it. But but it's just going to be really good to get back into the Comic-Con sort of environment. they've got some really excellent guests. I don't know if we're going to be able to get round to see any of them. I haven't booked anything yet. I think we're all going on the Saturday, and Ian McDermott's not there till the Sunday, so I think we're going to miss that. Hayden Christensen, I think, is there both days. Brian Herring's there, which is someone I'd like to catch up with. Who else?
Matthew Wood.
Matthew Wood's there. That'd be someone quite interesting. Especially, obviously, with the part that he played in the end of the Mandalorian series. But yeah, no, there's plenty going on there. As I say, it's always good fun to see the UKG guys. I've got a feeling Tramp's going to be there with his weapons of mass destruction. We normally have a good bit of banter with him. And yeah, it's just going to be good to get back into that environment, and obviously going around looking at the stalls, maybe picking up some bargains, see what happens really.
Kat, have you got any plans to sort of get any signatures or meet up with any of the guests?
Not currently. I am thinking of maybe booking an autograph or two. That is one thing I do love about Comic-Con, is the chance to get autographs. There's also some interesting panels going on, which I don't know. I always go into sort of Comic-Con with like no plans, and I make it up on the spot very spontaneously, which is probably not the way to do it. Don't do it like I do it. That's just the way I Comic-Con.
Yeah, I have to admit, I pretty much go the same route. Well, normally I'm being dragged around by Steve and James. I think I'm taking the camera, so I'll be snapping away. So that'll keep me busy in itself. But I'm just looking forward to seeing what they got going up there. Obviously, there's a reduced numbers. I see they announced yesterday that it is completely sold out, and there'll be no tickets for sale on the door. So anyone who's got their tickets is pretty lucky for this one.
And what have they got in regards to COVID protocol?
You have to have a COVID passport or a negative lateral flow test, and there will be masks required in some areas, particularly with the guests, but I don't believe they're mandatory all of the time.
No, that's what I was going to say. I saw some photographs from the London Comic Con. I saw it was quite relaxed, but I did notice that it was visibly a lot more spaced out. I know for a fact that they've reduced the numbers on like the cosplayers that are attending, like the likes of UKG and that sort of thing. Which, because it's just getting so many of them into one space, you just haven't got the movement of that, which is sad in some ways, but at the same time, we're still in this time where we've got to try and protect everyone.
Yeah, definitely. I think going into the winter, I think obviously we don't know what it's going to be like. Are we going to get another sort of surge of COVID, and we need to be careful because we don't know what it's going to look like. It could get bad, it might not. Hopefully it doesn't. So yeah, I totally get the caution side of it. As someone who's just travelled recently out the country and back in the country, as long as you've got the right documentation, you can get in and out pretty fine. So it'll be the same here. If you've got the right documentation getting in, you'll be fine. Obviously, have your face mask ready for the areas you need to wear it at. It should be a good experience.
I've got a nice new face mask. I know Kat's seen the design, so I'm looking forward to that.
I approve because it's got Kylo Ren on it.
Yeah, I have to admit that's the only downside. It is Star Wars related. It's also Queen related. So, it's a pretty cool face mask.
You'll have to share a picture on social media when you've got it on, and so the guys can check it out.
Definitely.
I'm looking forward to hearing all about it next time we record. You can tell us all about how good Comic-Con was.
Yeah, we might have to try and give you a call at some point whilst we're there over the weekend, Pete.
definitely. So I'm actually in Sheffield for like a winter market, but definitely, give us an update, 100%. I think that brings sort of an end to sort of our talking points for this week. Is there anything you want to add, or anything we've been talking about today, Jason, or anything we haven't touched on that you want to touch upon?
No, I don't think so. There's loads of rumours floating around at the moment, and it's hard to keep track of everything. I did see another one today that they reckon there's a fourth film that no one's talked about yet going into pre-production. But again, that's just a rumour. Obviously, next week, Disney Plus, they keep a lookout. I think we're going to find little bits dropped about all of next year's upcoming events. That for me is probably one of the most exciting days. I'm just hoping it's not going to be a letdown.
Yeah, I mean, what you mean Disney Plus Day? You don't want to be let down?
Yeah. I hope we get the answers we're all hoping for.
Well, I think there's a lot of shows that have just wrapped shooting. Andor, Kenobi. So there's going to be stuff from that to show. There's also shows like ready to start shooting soon, like Ahsoka, Mandalorian season 3. So I think there's a lot of room for like showing the pre-production stuff. There's stuff to show actual footage. So I think they've got a lot of stuff to choose from, which I think is a good thing. I think it's going to be quite a good reveal, I hope, Star Wars wise. Just obviously you mentioned that rumor. So is that a project we haven't been talking about before? So it's not Rogue Squadron, and not the Taika Waititi movie.
Yep, it's a brand new. No one knows anything about it, but there's rumours that it's in the works.
And no rumours about who's in control of the project or anything.
No, that's why I'm sort of taking it with a pinch of salt. It's just one of those things, but they're saying that there is a fourth one that no one sort of knows about. Obviously, there's been whispers that there was going to be a trilogy following on from The Rise of Skywalker, but whether that will ever happen, who knows?
Maybe it's like an Arnold Schwarzenegger Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it could be Dwayne Johnson.
I wouldn't mind either of those. I think they could. I love Schwarzenegger. I love The Rock. Definitely.
I'll be back.
What was it again from Kindergarten Cop? Put the ferret down.
Yeah, definitely. Oh dear. As someone who used to keep ferrets as a kid, yeah, I'd love to see ferrets in Star Wars.
We need more animals in Star Wars per se. I'm all for. That's what I actually love about one thing from the High Republic is there's Emma the Charhound, and she is such a loyal dog to the Jedi. And being a dog owner myself, I just love Emma.
Cool.
I think I'm actually reading Star Wars books at the minute, finally. So I'm reading Light of the Jedi, and I've just got the bit where they're chasing the Nile on them Steelies, and that's when that dog comes to save them, isn't it? Is that right?
That's the scene, yeah. That's when Emma makes her mighty appearance, and she is awesome.
Yeah, I really, really dig that chapter. I'm hoping to finish that book in the next couple of days, fingers crossed. Kat, is there anything you want to talk about? Any closing thoughts on anything we've discussed or anything that we haven't discussed that you want to touch upon?
No, I think I'm just excited for sort of the wrapping up of the year. We've got Book of Boba Fett to look forward to, and I'm just looking forward to seeing and meeting Star Wars and Marvel fans next week at Comic-Con. It will be really nice to have some normality again.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping we're going to have some way of people recognising us as Jedi News Crew. So if anyone does spot us, please give us a shout out and let us know that you listen to the podcast, because that'd be really great if you happen to be there.
Absolutely, I agree. I will be going around as Sylvie from the Loki series. So if you spot a Sylvie cosplayer, it might just be me.
I wish I was going. I can't wait to check out all the cosplays, and it'll be great to catch up with you guys in person. But hopefully, maybe at a con next year, we can all get together.
Definitely. We're going to have to work that out for sure.
100%. Jason, to wrap it all up, where can the people find you on social media?
I'm prepared this week. It's at HondoLing on Twitter, and that's probably the best place to touch down with me.
And Kat, where can the lovely listeners find you on social media?
I'm Kat Kylo, both with K's, on Twitter. Always happy to speak about Star Wars on Kylo Ren.
Especially Kylo Ren.
Both, but yeah, especially Kylo Ren.
Definitely. And obviously, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JordyJediPete. You can find the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Star Wars Podcast. And you can find the podcast on Twitter at BorsStar. So it's just Star Wars reversed. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me today. Listeners, thank you very much for listening in. May the Force be with you all. And remember, always tell that to Kanja Club.
Hello, Star Wars listeners. This is Savannah Odit. You might know me as host of The Dorky Diva Show with my co-host Brian Balance. I am also producer of The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, which is a Star Wars-inspired audio drama that we produced over the last year. If you love stories about smugglers, courage, heroic characters, and maybe a few foes along the way, you should go to thedorkydivashow.com and listen to The Adventures of the Zolan Dart today.
Shout! We've got your pigs.
Were any of the critters harmed?
What did you do now?
I didn't do anything. I just freaked out for no reason.
It was nice doing business with you again. Maybe next time we could deliver something less temperamental.
Now, what you call temperamental, I call fun.
Hey, is there a place nearby where I can make some repairs?
3 clicks south of here, you'll find a small spaceport. They should have what you need, as long as it's nothing too big.
Dynamic class? My stars, you don't hear about many of those still being space-worthy.
It's been in my family for a while.
She's pretty great. Any chance you have a hover cart we can use to load up?
I'll check out the HoloNet to see if anything new has come up in the sector.
My name is Sereth Khan. I am the chief here on Kamai. My people and I have been experiencing food shortages as of late due to unforeseen natural occurrences. We are looking to hire someone.
I say we take this one. The pay is great, and it's the type of job we're familiar with.
Welcome. You must be Captain Otoa. I've already sent word to Pac 2 to expect you in the next cycle or so.
You told him we were coming before we even accepted the job. That's rather presumptuous, isn't it?
Perhaps, though once I received confirmation that you were interested and on your way here, I couldn't help but hope.
Fair enough. Well, we'll be back as soon as we can.
Well, that's not good.
Is that blaster fire I hear?
So you're the one.
Captain, it sounds like they want to do this the hard way.
I love when they got some fight in them.
This is bad. This is bad. We're about to have a lot of company.
I'll see you soon.